Us. Hi, Sid. Say something.
Hey, how's it going, Roy?
Hi. All right. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Welcome to the. Hi, Sid. Say something.
hey, how's it going, Roy?
Hi. All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hey,
See, this is what happens when Buzz isn't in charge. All right. So, hello. I'm going to restart that for all 0 people currently watching this, but there will be an audio version of this. This is a special mini-sode of the Second Sons because Sid and I were so upset by what happened this week about the World Championship that we wanted to record a special episode to sort of crystallize our ideas about what FFG did wrong, what they could do to improve, how this is going to affect our ability to attend Worlds. Because to be completely honest, the white book is a little bit, because we talked about this on the white book, but that will be like 2 weeks from now. Beyond the Wall is dead. I don't know. There's some other new podcast that Jesse and Chris did, but Second Sons, we are here for hot takes. So Sid,
that's right.
after many hours of driving today back from Siege of Highgarden,
Yeah,
and me waiting for Sid and drinking a bunch while playing video games because my girlfriend is in New York. See, no, the TV is not on. That's how you know Al is not here while we're recording. Can I show the people? Anyway, I have had nothing to do, so this sounds great to me. So Sid, since you're much more coherent than I am, as my inability to get the technology to work shows, Worlds, what happened this week?
oh my God, man, we finally got an announcement, and it was kind of like a sneaky announcement. The rumors started. There was rumbling that maybe we'd get an announcement after this weekend, right? Because this weekend there's a lot of different conventions. FFG is kind of at things this weekend, so there was some kind of rumbling that maybe Tuesday will be the announcement and we'll get it. But then it just kind of knocked everyone out at the end of last week, and we've all been here kind of standing with our you know what in our hands, wondering what all this means. Because not only was it kind of a totally unexpected announcement. I mean, we expected an announcement of Worlds, but we expected it. I think most people, myself included, expected it to be kind of just a typical announcement for Worlds, right? Here's your time to register. Make sure you do it on time. Here's the schedule. Here's the hotel information. Here's everything you need to know. It's gonna be great. We can't wait. Sorry, it's a month late. But look, we made it great for you guys because we are only supporting 3 games now. 3 plus Rune Wars, but we'll get to that.
Is Rune Wars a game? Does it exist? Like, I haven't actually seen Rune Wars. Does it
It
exist?
does, and it is in stores. Like at Siege of Highgarden this weekend, as I'm in line to register, they had a whole display of Rune Wars products. So it's there. It's in stores. I guess people play. I
It
mean, I'm
exists.
assuming, yeah, like the products out there. I've never seen someone play or heard of someone playing.
Or see someone
Um,
want to play. Like, what the fuck is Rune Wars? Like, I
yeah.
just don't understand. Like,
I see the articles on FFG's website, but I assume they go unread. I assume they're skipped over by most everybody. But actually, Rune Wars, and we'll get to the actual schedule. I think it's the one thing that FFG probably did right. Like if Rune Wars was going to be a part of this World's weekend, it
it deserves the Wednesday spot.
it deserves. Well, it's not just Wednesday. It's Wednesday in the Radisson, right? It's not in their event space at all. So Wednesday in the Radisson. Sure, Rune Wars. Like, there's your spot. If anyone is traveling to go play games at the Radisson
Oh my god.
in Roseville,
That really is like the thing. That's like, with a game like Rune Wars at the World Championship. Like, I don't think there's anything you could do well with that. Because if you
no.
give them the dream space, all the more popular games are going to complain. And
Right.
then you put them in this like horrible space away from everything else, and then, well, what's the fucking point of going to the Rune Wars World Championship?
I want to make a prediction right now, and I hope someone has these numbers and we can find them because it was from the past. But do you remember a few years ago at the World's Weekend, there was a Disc Wars World Championship tournament?
There was. I
There
honestly
was.
my radar.
There was a Disc Wars, and I don't remember the attendance numbers, but I would be surprised if the Rune Wars numbers even beat the Disc Wars numbers, and those Disc Wars numbers
Well,
must
all
have been
right. I
horrible
think as
because I don't remember seeing any Disc Wars players the entire Worlds weekend in which they were having a tournament at Worlds.
well, the other game to compare it to is like at the end of Call of Cthulhu when there was like 8 people that played the game
Right.
competitively, 4 of whom were previous world champions, and the other
Right.
4 were second place finishers. So, like, if the first Rune Wars World Championship is bigger than the last Call of Cthulhu, then FFG can say we did it. We
Yeah.
actually improved the number of people coming to play our third tier game at our World Championship. But
All right. So back to what we were saying, or what I was saying. We get this announcement, and it's just such a clusterfuck of an announcement. Like it's hard to really parse what all the details mean. I mean, it's fairly straightforward in its information, but the repercussions of this information are a whole lot of unknowns. FFG hasn't given any follow-up information. Hopefully, we'll get more soon because the structure of Worlds is so radically different from anything it's ever been before that no one really knows what it's going to mean for the players that are lucky enough to get in. So I don't even know where to start. Let's start with Wednesday. All right. Well, let's just start with Wednesday, and the big event, of course, for Wednesday is Rune Wars. But after that is Game of Thrones. Right. Game of Thrones.
day one.
Day 1A. 1A. Day 1A is Game of Thrones. We have no idea how many people are going to be admitted to Day 1A. Uh, we know that on September 8th, people will start to get notices because it is a random draw now. Like everyone who wants to go to Worlds, they put into the lottery. No, let me stop there. Did you put your name into the lottery for Wednesday and or Thursday?
For Thursday, I did put my name. I did put it's. There's only maybe a 50% chance that I'll go, but
Yeah.
if I get Thursday, I think I can't go Wednesday.
Okay.
I can't do Wednesday through Friday.
No.
So like I don't have the time off, and we're rebooting my job from the ground up. So they kind of need the entire instructional staff to be there the entire as often as possible. So taking a whole week off is not really feasible.
Not
So,
ideal.
but I can make Thursday and Friday work. Like I think I can. We'll see. I think I can. So I signed up
Think
for it.
you can.
I think I can.
Okay. I did both because, and it's not as if Wednesday is simple for me either. It's a huge pain if I get into Wednesday. But that pain is probably less than just not getting to go to Worlds because I didn't get picked. Because it's my assumption that Thursday will be the harder day to get.
Yeah, it's
right?
going to be
It has
infinitely
to be.
harder. Yeah.
Because every regional winner has got to be thinking, well, why would I choose Wednesday? I mean, unless they were local, like a local regional winner, and was like, okay, Wednesday might be an easier day. I'll just do Wednesday. It doesn't matter to me. All the regional winners that are traveling are going to save that day of travel. That's one less day to take off work. It's one less night in a hotel. It's one less day of food and beer and everything else that goes into the cost of Worlds. Like all those regional winners are going to do Thursday. I assume the Europeans traveling in are all going to do Thursday.
I think if you were a
national
European, you
winners.
might. I think European national winners may be stuck with whatever the distributor and FFG were, because the flight's on the distributor, right?
I
So,
suppose so, yeah.
so if FFG says to what is it? What's the UK one? Avidian, or whatever it is, the UK distributor, and says you have to fly your person in for Wednesday Worlds. Like what's the distributor gonna say? Like it's gonna be like okay, and then like if my flight from Europe, like if I was got a flight from FFG to Stalik and they're like you have to be there for the first day, I'd be like well this $2,000 flight, excuse me, free $2,000 flight, yeah okay sure I'll take the extra day off work,
But
but
does FFG have anything to do with the flights?
the
Are they in?
distributors do. I
Right,
don't
but
know.
FFG is not in contact with them about flights, right?
I mean you would think that they would have to be in contact with them to coordinate the tickets,
I
and
mean,
if
in
they
a
say
logical, reasonable world, but we don't live in that world.
yeah, that's true. Well, that's the one thing. That's true. That's true. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I mean, everyone is going to request Thursday.
Right. Because, I mean, when you go through, unless the Europeans had some other different kind of process, which I'm sure they didn't, they went through, and if they were a nationals winner that's going to go, they would have clicked on the I have a reserved spot, right? And they would have just tagged that for Thursday. and then they tell the distributor, this is I'm going to Worlds. I need to be there by Thursday. That's please, reimburse me for that plane ticket. However they do it. It would be nice to hear from a European to see exactly how that works, right? Oh, am I shouting? Oh, Krevik says I'm shouting in the chat. I'll try to move. Maybe my mic's a little too
Is it
close.
better now? I've lowered Sid's volume. Is it better now?
Maybe that was it. We needed to equalize it. How are we doing, chat? Is that a little
Chat,
better?
how are we
I'll
doing? Is
just
it a
I'll
little bit
just keep
better?
going. They'll let us know. But yeah, I would be interested to see how that process is going to play out for the Europeans. Um, like, but all the different repercussions of having this Wednesday and Thursday, the 1A and the 1B days. I mean, what if you're traveling with a group, right? Are you all applying for both days? Or are you all applying for one day to travel together? And then what if 20% of your group just doesn't get it, right? Because you all applied to the same day. And then if you get different days, then you're talking about different travel plans, right? What about hotel rooms? Because ideally you want to split those with your group. It becomes just this huge issue. Like it's just a problem. Worlds, maybe it's not a problem for FFG. I'm sure they don't care, but for the larger community that comes to Worlds every year, it's everything's kind of changed, right? It's just all up in the air. This is not the way normal business is conducted.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's also it's also the fact that this is the third year in a row that Thrones has been relegated to the center of gravity of our tournaments being Wednesdays, right? The year that I went in 2015, it made sense because there was like a million Thrones events. There was a draft, a melee, a joust, and then a second joust and a 2.0 melee. So there was a sort of goodbye to 1.0, welcome to 2.0, Worlds weekend. So that was great. Like that made perfect sense to me. But the fact that they had almost no thought that when they did the Wednesday in the second time in a row, that if they did it the third, that people would get really upset.
Yeah. And it really doesn't make sense. Like, it should not have been on Wednesday. Either it's a little bit of incompetence sprinkled with a little bit of spitefulness. Like, I really feel like the Thrones community is the most vocal about their distaste for OP these days. And this just might have been like, well, screw you guys. You're going on Wednesday. Have fun playing Wednesday again, because I really don't see how it makes sense. I get that L5R is the new game, right? But their world championships are not going to be interesting. It's a core set, right? It's a core set
Yeah.
tournament. That's what it is. Yeah, sure, hundreds of people might be there, but are a dozen to 20 Europeans traveling in for the L5R tournament? Do you think that's happening? I don't think it's happening,
I actually don't know. I actually have to talk to one of my friends that are seriously into the L5R community to really find out. But I don't think so. I think you have to go on your own dime for this first year. I think there might be some
right?
way because there was that whole thing that you could apply to do that European launch event that they were doing, but I don't think that's tied to Worlds. I think 100% this year you have to pay your own way.
I mean, looking before this schedule hit, and actually really long before, it was looking like it wasn't going to be a great Worlds due to all these delays, due to the struggles of OP. But if anyone else, out there has been listening to the show, I've been really optimistic the last year about this Worlds. Like, very excited for it throughout the year. Of course, like, the trepidation was building all summer, and now I'm at a pretty low spot. But this could have been one of the best Worlds ever, if not the best. We have so much excitement about this large contingent of Europeans coming. Like, there's a lot of Europeans
Yeah.
that are coming, more than I think have ever come. Uh, at least there's more representation from different countries than there's ever been. We'll see what kind of groups finally make the flight, because it'll depend on all the entourage players and whether or not they get those lottery picks, right? It could be a small group in the end. We don't know. But I think it could have been one of the best international Worlds. And now there's just like this wet blanket over the whole thing. Um, so L5R, it's going to be, to use the parlance of our times, a competitively hollow tournament. I don't even know how to play L5R, but everyone knows a core set only tournament is not really the ideal world championship scenario, right? It's just not. It's not.
No, it's not. And I think, I mean,
When second edition launched, it was a side event, right?
it was
It
like
was
a
a side event.
half side event. It was like
Half a side event.
because Sam gets another card design, right? So it's like
Oh, does he? Oh,
half.
okay,
Oh
okay,
yeah, 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 oh yeah. So it's like a half side event, right? I think the
okay.
biggest thing that we as Thrones players, I think, have to get used to is that the way FFG though is treating L5R is this isn't Netrunner, like this isn't Conquest, this isn't Arkham Horror, this isn't or what Thrones 2.0 was. This isn't the new game. Like this is the new boss. Like L5R is the new center of gravity of FFG, the FFG LCG department, the FFG OP department, the FFG marketing department, right?
Right.
Because they own this IP, and the IP that we love and with the game that we love is only got 5 years most of max, and that's being really kind and generous of like being able to say that this is a huge money spinner for them. The diminishing returns on Thrones is already there. Like the show is ending in a year and a half. Like Martin may never release another book.
The show's got spin-offs planned though. Like
Yeah, but that's
HBO's not going to let this cash cow get away from
yeah,
them.
but this could
I
be
really don't
diminishing
think we have
returns
anything
for
to
them.
worry.
I think we do. Like you can already, and then within the hardcores, you can already start seeing people like Thrones' moment in the sun is gone. I think.
You really feel like we've that this L5R phenomenon will be the thing that eclipses us.
Oh yeah, very much so. Like
I'm not convinced yet.
and FFG is going to try to make
We're
it.
like cockroaches, man. You don't get rid of Thrones
Oh, I don't
players.
think they're going to get rid of us. Like
Sometimes we go into the shadows, but we always come back.
Aaron is right when he says that FFG hates making money. But on the
Yeah.
other hand, FFG likes making easy money. So if there are enough people that the game can remain profitable, they'll continue to print it,
Right.
right? As long as they have the IP.
Right.
But are we going to be able to throw our weight around? I think that that time is gradually coming to an end, and FFG OP and FFG is going to be very happy when that happens.
But I mean, at this point in time, so I mean, I'm agreeing with you with L5R, and I really don't begrudge L5R
I don't
their
either.
time slot. I don't think it's going to be a very good tournament, but I don't begrudge them the slot. Let them have it. They're the new hotness. Fine. But I have no clue why Netrunner is Friday, Saturday. I
Well,
mean, I'm
Netrunner's
sorry,
just
Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday.
Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, it's Saturday with a cut Sunday. I have no clue why it has that slot. It makes zero sense as a game that has experienced a huge drop off in OP attendance this last year. The way to get those players back, if that's really what you want to do, is not to give them the prime slot at Worlds because it's going to go wasted. The Netrunner community is not super psyched for a tournament in 2 months at the World Championships because they haven't had a good tournament season. You need to build up to get people to want to travel to Roseville, Minnesota. Like Thrones has had a pretty good tournament season. High numbers at regionals, at game night kits, at store championships. Maybe not our highest, but it's been decent turnout. We've been getting big regional numbers. Community tournaments are all over the place and thriving. I just came from one this weekend. Like Thrones still has momentum, both in its card pool growing. We still have lots of cards coming down the pipeline. Like it is a thrive. Maybe not their most popular game, right? That's obviously L5R, but it is thriving. I think on a fairly uh, positive curve. Right? I see no problems with the actual game coming out. It's just it makes no sense that Netrunner gets our spot. I'm going to call it our spot because that should be our spot. It should be Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, but I get that that would maybe conflict too much with L5R. But L5R finals are Saturday. There's plenty of room for an L5R top whatever and Thrones,
I
right?
think I think one of the things we might be missing here is I think FFG may think that people who want to play L5R competitively, the people who want to play Thrones competitively, are kind of the same people, and they want to give you an opportunity to play both games competitively and see where your chips lie, right? Because so the way it is right now, so say I'm willing to commit to the Wednesday through Sunday.
Right,
I think you can play Thrones, see if you make the finals,
right.
play L5R. No, it doesn't even matter. See if you make the finals. You can play L5R, or you can play Thrones on Wednesday, L5R on Thursday.
Thursday,
You can play the cut of Thrones on Friday, and then the cut of L5R on Saturday, right?
Saturday,
So
right.
if you are an amazing both player. Like if you Sid or Tomas decided that L5R is going to be the future, right? And
Right.
he's like, I'm going to play them both, right? He can do the whole thing, and that's what their goal is. Their goal is, I think, to make that player happy. The player who's highly competitive in L5R. Like there are a lot of these people. A lot of highly competitive L5R players sort of
No, there's
came.
zero. There are no highly competitive L5R players because they don't have a
Hold on.
competitive environment. It doesn't
From
exist
for no,
yet.
but from the old game, right? That needed a halfway
Oh,
house. No, you maybe
it's
this
a
isn't a thing in
different
California.
game.
No,
It's a different company, a different game. Like this is,
yeah, but
like this L5R, you can't, it doesn't get to carry over. I don't give it to them. They don't get free, like you don't get to come into L5R at FFG and be like, I'm one of the best in the world. It's like, no, 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 you got to earn it here, right?
I don't think so. I think they want. I mean, the same way they wanted continuity between 1.0 and 2.0, they want to make the old school people, the community, transfer. And there are a lot of people. This may not be a big thing in California, but in the Northeast of the United States, there are a huge number of competitive and semi-competitive players who played L5R, and
Yeah.
and then they came to Thrones as their halfway house to get used to FFG because most of them liked the IP, and Thrones isn't it shares some similarities with L5R, right?
Right.
And they came in and they enjoyed it, and they are part of our community here. But they're going to transition. Thrones is going to be their second game. So what they want, I think, in this schedule this year is to make those people happy. Those people who Thrones is now going to be their second game, and they want to be able, if they're gonna spend that 5 days in fucking Roseville, Minnesota, with its 5 hotels and 1 bar, and everything besides the bar closes at 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. in some cases. You need to be able to do everything you want to do, which is play Thrones and play L5R.
And
That's
then
why I
tell
think
me,
we have this.
why wasn't that if that is the plan, then why wasn't it all, it should all be shifted forward one day to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday instead of
And put
Wednesday,
Netrunner
Thursday,
on
Friday.
Wednesday. That is cold.
No, you know what? Netrunner can have the weekend too. You just throw them in the Radisson because they're not going to need more space. Like they're
Ooh.
not going to need more space.
Yeah,
Do you really? I mean, the Radisson's fairly big. It can handle a tournament of 100 people. They're not going to get 100 people for Netrunner.
they're gonna get
That's not even going to
150.
happen. You think they'll get 100 people?
I think they'll get 150.
How many people were at the Netrunner tournament at Gen Con? Who's got those numbers?
Uh, we'd have to look it up.
I
Uh,
want to know.
well,
Because
none of us
there'll
did
be
that research.
more at Gen Con than are at Worlds.
No, I don't think that's necessary. I think it'll be probably pretty close number wise,
You
because the
think so?
people who won't go to Roseville will be replaced with the Europeans that want to come over. Because there are, I mean, from my experience at Worlds, like looking at the lobby of the hotel, what's the hotel that everyone stays in? Is it the Radisson?
Yeah.
There was a ton of oh my god, ton of Netrunner people in there, and they were speaking a variety of different languages. So I feel like there is a strong European community that will come over. There has to be, right?
Does there have to be?
There has to be. We
I
have
think
one, so
numbers
I can
have
only
been down.
imagine.
Yeah, we have a thriving OP, especially in Europe. I don't think Netrunner is weathering the storm any better than the United States.
Yeah.
I really don't think they are. I think the Radisson could have been their spot for the weekend. Um, you could have done Melee then on Wednesday. If you really want to throw Thrones somewhere, why is Melee Saturday, Sunday?
I don't know.
Why is this entire tournament on the weekend it's on? Why aren't we the following weekend where most people in the United States have Friday off?
I don't know,
You're
Sid.
not working that Friday. You're not working Friday the 10th, right?
Nope. I'm
Nope,
not
me
working that
neither.
whole week. That's our intercession break, man. I'm not working that whole week.
Well, I mean,
So
it's a federal holiday. Most people are not working that Friday. So even with this terrible schedule, if it had been on that weekend, the next weekend,
hmm
most Americans would be like, well, it's not ideal, but they picked a good weekend. I don't have to request Friday off. All right, so I can take Wednesday and Thursday off. It's still just 2 days. I'll go for it. But this way, if you only get into Wednesday, you're taking 3 days off. And you know what the worst possible scenario is? And this isn't just worst possible. This is majority of folks who play on Wednesday. They're done. Like if you don't make the cut, you're done, right?
well,
You're done.
again,
You're
well,
done.
that's why the melee tournament
Oh
is
my God.
then
Yeah.
right. It's
Oh,
to
you
keep
mean
you
the
there.
melee tournament with a cut that starts Sunday afternoon, so that you're stuck in Roseville till Sunday night. Like, no, no, that makes no sense. So now, if I want to get my money's worth, I've got to stay Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, or I'm getting like a red eye out Sunday, right? Like I win melee and I run to the airport. Like you're talking 5 nights.
Hopefully, there's not a football game because the
Oh my
highway
God,
to the stadium is the same as the highway to the
it's tough.
airport. So,
it it's a horrible schedule for travelers, and it's not like it's better for locals because they don't let locals into the tournaments who even if there's space. So it's terrible. Like I get into Wednesday, I fly in Wednesday, I don't make the cut. I had to make my flight at least until
Friday night.
Saturday, right?
Friday night.
Friday night or Saturday morning, and then I'm sitting around like I guess hanging out with some people until my flight. But I'm just down and I'm
Well,
bummed and I'm thinking
what
about
they're
all the money and time I spent to
okay.
get here.
Let's
And
twist this around. So
ugh.
the other trick that we could say that they're doing is that they want the SIDS of the world to be like, look, all right, I got in Wednesday. If I get in just Wednesday, what if I lose? I need something else to do. What could I do, Sid? What could you do on those Thursday and Fridays? You could apply for what?
Oh, you mean I could spend an extra 75 bucks to
$75
lose at L5R?
L5R. Yeah, you
I
could
could do that?
spend the $75 to lose the L5R.
No, no, I could spend the 75. I would also have to buy 3 cores and learn how to play the game in the next month and a half. Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
I'm not going
saying.
to do well at L5R. I don't want to play L5R, and I shouldn't have to, right? I'm coming for the Game of Thrones World Championship event, and I'm probably like I applied for both days. I'm sure I'm gonna get if I get it at all. I'm sure it's gonna be Wednesday because I'm not a regional winner, as most people who are applying are not. And I think Wednesday's gonna be the kind of the default day where a lot of people get pushed over there because there's gonna be fewer spots available Thursday. Um, and that's it. I mean, that's kind of what I have to look forward to. Maybe a World Championship event on a Wednesday and then that's it. Like I've done the pods, the draft pods. They're not fun. They're not fun. They're not interesting. It's just six buddies drafting like you would in a store. There's nothing that says World Championship about FFG's draft
Except the
pods.
promos. Except the promos.
Oh my god, who cares? I could care less
I
about
know
promos.
you're an anti-promo guy. I know.
I'm anti-promo, anti-alt arts. I appreciate all the work that tournament organizers put into draw deck alt arts, but yeah, I don't get excited by them. They don't excite me at all. That's like I have this, right? I have this. I own this already. So yeah, I mean the schedule's bad. What's another point? We have more points we can make.
You're
Do
the
we
one
want
with
to
the
get in?
notes. You're the one with the notes, Sid.
All
I'm
right,
the
well
one trying to
let's get into the
foolishly make this work.
Wednesday Thursday deck list issue
Ah,
because
yes,
I'm in a
yes.
couple of chat discussions where this let me adjust my camera where this is a concern, a legitimate concern. Do you want to break it down? I've been talking a lot.
Hold on. I'm checking to see. Yeah,
Where
we're
this
still
is a
live.
concern.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Yes. So basically, it's very straightforward, actually. Okay. So if you play on Wednesday, let's say Sid gets in on Wednesday, and I get in on Thursday, right?
Right.
So what Sid can do is play his rounds and be texting me, hey, this is a big Greyjoy. The Greyjoy meta in North America is here. They decided take your Martell Stag deck, leave it in Philadelphia, bring Lannister, bring Lannister, bring Lannister. All
I give
right.
you. There's two DC guys here on Wednesday. They're both playing X
Yeah.
banner Y, right?
Yeah. Right. And so you and a Wednesday player can scout for the Thursday player, or and not even scout, just following FFG's own stream because they're not going to be streaming Rune Wars in the middle of fucking nowhere. They're going to be streaming Thrones. Just watching the stream will give you a sense of what the meta is going into Thursday. And then because it's not like these are two separate flights that never intersect, they're going to intersect in the cut on Friday, Saturday.
Right.
So you get a distinct advantage because right now, at least, deck lists are not locked in by Wednesday. So if you play on Thursday, not only is it likely to be a more competitive field because most people want to play on Thursday, it's also a more competitive field because people will be in their deck building decisions. So maybe if you don't even change your entire deck, so let's say but you change your event suite,
Right.
you go to 3 tiers instead of 2, or you go to 3 nightmares instead of 2 nightmares or whatever, right? Or you swap out one plot for another in your Reigns package, right? Because you found out on Wednesdays that there's a lot of Greyjoy or there's a lot of Targ, right? There's a huge advantage of going Thursday in a
Yeah.
promoted tournament without locked in deck lists.
Right. And we don't even know the scenario of advancing to day two, right? We don't know if day two is a cut. We don't know if it's a graduated. We don't know how many rounds of Swiss are on day 1A and day 1B. We don't know how many rounds. Who's going for it? Is it top 8 from both days? Is it top 16 from both days? Is it everyone that's 4-2? Is it everyone that's 5-1? There's no way to tell. We have no information. Like,
It's five
it's
and
really frustrating.
the best information I've been able to get is what they do in the X-wing opens. Is it's top 8 of each day, so top 16, and
Hmm.
and there's a graduated cut with 5x. So for that extra day, right? Because there's a graduated cut, right? It
So wait a minute. So you're top 8 and top 8 from both,
Yeah,
and then the top 16 on day two play uh what, like 2 more rounds to get a top 8?
yeah.
How do they figure out pairings from on day two?
Record, not strength of schedule.
Okay. So strength of schedule is kind of forgotten.
Yeah,
That's gone.
because Tome can't
Uh,
combine them.
so they just randomly pair based on record.
Yep,
And then just like Swiss it from there. Let Tome figure out the round two or whatever.
yep.
Sounds horrible. Sounds horrible. So you might only play. So you even if you make it, you might then only play 2 games on day two.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then they'll do top 8. Oh, yeah, I don't like it at all. Everything's bad. I don't know why we need 2 days. I don't think that many people are going. And the irony is they might not be going because it's 2 days, and maybe they did the 2 days because they figured a lot of people would go. Like, how backwards is that?
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's super ass backwards, and I think it's also ass backwards because I don't think that the way they have it set up is competitively has any competitive integrity.
No.
Like I think because of the deck list issue, I think because of the push for Thursday, where so that means you have a I think you're gonna have a distinct disadvantage if you play on Thursday. You're gonna have an advantage in the sense of you'll be able to scout Wednesday, but the quality of players is going to be higher on Thursday than it will be on
Right.
Wednesday,
Right.
right?
And then you've got maybe like a tier 1 and a tier 1.5, 8 and 8 being thrown together. I mean, I guess if you're doing 2 more rounds of Swiss, you'd think the best players would then kind of rise up out of there. Um, but but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think we don't have a precedent, right?
No.
We're just kind of like this is different and this is strange and it's not the way we do Big Thrones tournaments ever. Um, and so maybe we're all like being way too scared. Maybe it's just too many new things and we're all going crazy, but it doesn't feel good, right? It feels mysterious and nebulous, and I don't know what to do with it.
Well, I think
Like
also
I'm tempted to just say forget it. If I get Wednesday, I'm just like, you know what, forget it. Forget it.
I think also this year what's the
I mean, people still can't buy plane tickets.
yeah.
If I don't get in and I put myself into, then I have to wait till I think September 22nd
Mm-hmm. About a
to
month.
see, yeah, to see if I'm in on the like the back end, right? The last chance, I think the last chance draw. So it could be almost October, right? Last weekend in September. By the time people can finally buy a tickets, for some people, I mean, presumably that'll be a chunk of people, right? Can finally get a ticket, and it's 5 weeks away, the tournament. Like, this is not how you plan a world championship, especially something that everyone has to travel for, except for maybe a dozen players, because it's in Minnesota, right? Like, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So what does it mean?
I
Is
think
OP in
Oh,
disarray?
I now know what I say. So I think we got literally the worst of everything this summer. Like when we went to Worlds, right? Because we got
All right.
no like I almost wish there hadn't been an announcement at this point. Like because the announcement was so half-assed because all of these
Yeah.
issues that we worked out and we've been talking about both on this episode and in people in Facebook comments, it's really, really, really poorly done. Like there was
Yeah.
no sense of because it's new, because this split in Thrones is new. Like there was no like explaining what it is. It's just an assumption that maybe we all play X-wing and we know how X-wing did it, which may be how they do it, right? But this is
Maybe. We don't
also
know.
true. What's so weird is I'm surprised they did this to L5R2, right? So you have their two biggest games right now that are linked with
Yeah.
this new way of doing things that's unclear, unexplained, how it's going to flow into each other.
And a month later than they, I mean, when you radically change the way Worlds works, you don't wait an extra month to announce that. You need to announce that earlier than you announced Worlds the previous year. So people can start to think about how they're going to manage both travel and preparation. We don't know specifically the legal card pool yet. Maybe FFG doesn't know when exactly their cards are going to be released. I have a feeling they have a good idea, and I wish they would just be conservative and tell us what the legal card pool will be. So we have no 100% confirmation on legal card pool. We're a month late on an announcement, which just blows up the entire uh, conception of how Worlds works. It's like too much. It's too much to deal with, and expect the player base to be like, "Oh, this is fine. This is exactly what we were like. This isn't what we were expecting," and there's no explanation for it. Like they didn't even explain why. Like
Yeah.
tell us why you're doing this. Why? A reason. We
Well,
deserve it. Like, I don't think we're entitled to much, but a reason for a radical change to the way Worlds works. How about that? A reason.
and I don't understand why they have to like why can't they just do a tournament a day? Like
Yeah.
it's a grueling brutal process for everyone involved, but it's the world championship.
And it's their building. Like, you just go tournament, cut, right? Next day, cut. Tournament, next day, cut. Because you're running the cut at the same time as the next tournament. It's
Yeah.
okay. Those 16 people or however many it is that make the cut, you're in the cut. So you don't get to play in the next tournament. Too bad for you. You're one of the best in the world. Like, it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
everyone is okay with that, I think. I mean, some people who are there for both games will be like, well, I made the cut, so I don't get to play in L5R if I want to play in Thrones, but that's
You
a
take that
reasonable
risk.
decision. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and cry again, cry me a river.
Yeah. No one
Like
feels sorry for you.
if let's say there was a 1 day L5R tournament and you didn't get to play, which was on Thursday, and the cut was on Friday and Thrones was on Friday, and you couldn't play in the Swiss rounds because you were the top 16 of L5R. Boo hoo! I'm sorry. Cry yourself back to fake Asia. And the thing is true, like with the reverse with Thrones. Like when people are like, "Oh yeah, I can't play in the Thrones Swiss because I'm in the Star Wars cut." It's like,
Right.
okay, like congratulations, you have an awesome Darth Vader playmat, and you can say you're the top 16 of a game you love. Like you win. Like no one is gonna complain about that.
Yeah. I
And
mean, I think we agree. Isn't that the schedule we would have liked to see? Which is just like, I don't really care the order of the games. Even if Thrones had been the Thursday slot, you go Thursday, Friday for one game, Friday, Saturday for the other, and Saturday, Sunday for the third. Right? That's just like that.
yeah,
It's only 3 games. Rune Wars doesn't matter because it's in the Radisson anyways. Do Wars
on
on
Wednesday.
any
Yeah,
day.
you
Yeah.
just do it on Wednesday. Like there
You
you
don't
go.
even have to. You
Rune
can do it
Wars,
any day you want. Ain't
Rune
no
Wars
one who plays
Wednesday.
Rune Wars wants to play anything else. If someone's going there, it's because they're Rune Wars fanboy, and they're there for that. I doubt Rune Wars and these LCGs have a lot of crossover.
So you have
It's my.
Rune Wars on Wednesday. You
There you
have
go.
Thrones on Thursday. You have
Uh huh.
L5R on Friday, and you have Netrunner on Saturday. Like that.
There you go.
Like that is a more palpable schedule to me.
Right. And then you could even still run the melee on the weekend where it is now, and it would make sense. It would be, Saturday, Sunday would be the melee. It'd be small. They could even have done the melee in the Radisson. I wouldn't have cared, right? Throw it there. But each of these tournaments deserves its kind of big Swiss day, right? Where everyone gets together and you can plan travel easy. I think the facilities are big enough for that. Maybe they think it's not big enough to do a cut and a Swiss for L5R, but I don't see how that's possible because you can do the cut at just a couple of tables in the front room, and you'd have the rest of the front room and the huge back room for the Swiss of the other tournament. I really don't understand it. I don't understand why they're doing this.
Well, the thing that's also crazy is it's a closed ecosystem. FFG has food at their place. You don't have to
Right?
leave. It's not like Gen Con. It's not like anything else. I mean, I guess it gets overwhelmed because it's like 5 employees back there. But
Yeah.
like if you want food, you can get it at any time at the FFG Center. You like when I was at Worlds until like I never left until like 9 p.m. There was no reason
Yeah.
to leave, right?
Right.
Like you there when I wanted lunch, lunch was right there. When I wanted beer, beer was right there. And then
It's usually too cold outside to go walking that
yeah,
far,
yeah.
anyways.
So and then when the high level people are done, everyone goes over to Joe Sensors like at like 9 or 10, and
Right.
it's like it's a very easy, simple system. Like the advantages of the FFG Center are that you can create this closed ecosystem, right?
Right.
That's not like Gen Con. That's not like any other conventions. You don't run into the problems that like Euros ran into, right? Where you have to people want to go get lunch and they got to go all the way to the fucking Chipotle out of the convention center, like 5 blocks away, right? Or Gen Con or anything else. It's
Right.
or you get this very closed ecosystem, and FFG makes cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching on the food and drink, right? So it's
Oh
more
yeah.
money for them, right? And
No.
so I don't understand why they don't run. And it's like Stolic shows that they can do this. Magic the Gathering shows that they can do massive amounts of Swiss rounds in one day. And you don't have to do that many rounds. 7 rounds of Swiss is
Yeah.
not that many rounds.
No. It's really not. Now, do you have any idea what the capacity is in the large room at Worlds?
No, I don't. I don't.
I mean, if you had to guess, what would you guess? You've been there. I've been there. What would you guess? How many people can fit?
It's
Because
like
there's always been
both the
multiple
front and the
games going
back.
in
The
there.
front and the back. Playing
Yeah.
cards, playing
Yeah.
purely card games,
Yeah.
350.
350. All right. So I would say that's even a little conservative. I think it's more closer to between four and 500. But let's say 350. So the only possible reason I can think of them doing 2 days for both Thrones and L5R is they believe that they can get up to that capacity on both 1A and 1B for both games, right? Because if they just thought they could do it with L5R, fine, just do it for L5R. You could still schedule it so someone could do 1A or 1B and still play Thrones if Thrones was just 2 days. They could have made that work. But instead, they do both. Assuming, I mean, do you think there's going to be 700 Thrones players, individual Thrones players for Swiss?
No.
Do you think there'll be that many for
I mean,
L5R?
Stolic can't get 750 people.
Well, they
And
have they have serious capacity issues at Stall.
yeah.
They might even be able to get up higher. Maybe probably not to 700, but there's no possible way Thrones is that high. There's no way. And I don't think L5R will be that high either. I know Gen Con had how many did they end up having at the end? Was it 700?
It was just shy or just over 700. It was like it was right. They hit their target. Like it was good.
Okay,
That
Lance 2983 just posted in the chat. He says he thinks the max occupancy for the one big room was 380, and you add to that the front room, and say there's also the Swiss going on in that room for whatever other game would have worked in this ideal schedule. We're looking at over 400 per day, right? That you could put in this space. So I don't see how their space matches their schedule. It makes no sense to me. Unless they really think they can sell that many $75 tickets.
I mean,
Because if they really think they can sell that many, they are cleaning up. I mean, they are fleecing everybody
I mean
if they're making that much
the
money.
elephant in the room here is how many people will show up for L5R Worlds. Like we really don't know.
Right.
Like
We don't know.
we don't know. FFG doesn't know. I mean, I'm sure their marketing people have tried to figure that out, but like how? I mean, there is a big community. I know Sid is community skeptical of L5R, but they exist and they're serious about the game and they love the community and they want those story prizes and they want that stuff. Like, they care about the story, right?
Right.
And they want that universe to expand in ways that they find interesting. So if any of their games are going to get 700 randos to show up for it, I think it will actually be L5R simply because L5R's IP only has what FFG is selling. Right?
Right.
If you
Then
love Thrones IP, you should go hang out with George R. R. Martin in New Mexico. All right, like that's going to get you closer to getting Winds of Winter than showing up and playing Game of Thrones, the card game.
so maybe that's their idea. They're thinking we think we can get 600 plus L5R players to Roseville, Minnesota. And if we can get them here with a schedule that also allows them to play Thrones, maybe we can get a larger number of Thrones players than we've ever had. Like, is that the idea?
I think that might be that might be what was going through Zach's head when he created this schedule.
Like when he created it a week ago? Like what?
Yeah.
Not, I mean, it it doesn't make sense to me. I don't really see like I can't envision the meetings that happened around a table that led them to this place. But I would love to know the justification for it. I would really love to know it. Like FFG, I know you're not listening, but whatever. Please, just a justification. Like we're really excited, everybody. Worlds is gonna take on a new format. We're going to 2 days of Swiss. Like if I had heard there's gonna be 2 days of Swiss instead of one, say 4 months ago, that's kind of an exciting idea, right? And then we would have talked about what that means, what it could mean, and then we get the details trickled out, and everyone has time to adjust, and we have the new normal, and we go forward. But instead, we're left here, right? And here is not a good place to be. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah. And I think it's the thing is also like I hate to say this, but November's right around the corner. I think is it Lance with this? It's
Right around the corner.
it's coming. It's coming real quick. And even for Americans, it's not that expensive to fly to Minneapolis.
Right.
But
Few hundred, even all the way across the country.
yeah, but that's still it gets more each day it gets more and more expensive.
Yep.
And I guess the advantage is if you get the Wednesday day, flights are cheap on Tuesday night. So, Tuesday night flights to Minneapolis are cheap, right? So
Right.
this was and I do believe Star Wars got more notice. I think they did. But of course
Did they?
Star Wars had a clearer I mean, the burden I think was a little bit higher on making the Star Wars worlds work because it was new. Like
Yeah.
this is still the same old worlds that we've known since FFG started doing worlds at the event center, right? Which was like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Lance brings up another good point that I'd forgot about. It means those who get into Wednesday are traveling Halloween, right? We gotta travel Halloween, which is I
great,
realize
great
it's
for
it's
people
not
with kids, right,
right. It's
Sid?
not like traveling Christmas, but like Halloween's kind of a big like they have to know that their Thrones community, the Thrones player base does skew a little bit older, I think, than other card games, right? There's a ton of people with families and kids in Thrones. As someone who's been in Thrones for over a decade and have met people from all over, there's a ton of families. And just Halloween is, no one wants to be like traveling the afternoon of Halloween. Like it's just not a good day. It's not a good day. Worlds should not be on this weekend. Another reason why Worlds is on the wrong weekend again. And they used to. They did the first couple of World Championship weekends over the Veterans Day holiday. It was like we're going to do it in November. We might as well choose that weekend because it's great for everybody. But I don't understand why they moved away from it. I would love to know the justification for
Because they probably
why they're
didn't want
not
to pay
choosing
their
it.
employees for Veterans Day.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you know what they should do? They should do exactly what they do to us. You just give them a different day off, right? And then you don't have to pay them anymore. Like, I mean, that's what they do to us as teachers when students have a minimum day. They just give us a minimum day too, so they don't have to pay us for any extra time or meetings. It's like you guys go home too. We don't want to pay you, and then we don't complain. Like when they make us stay till 8 o'clock at night at for back to school night, they're like, "Well, you get a half day tomorrow. We don't want to pay you anything more for making you work a 14-hour day." Do the same thing. Like this is not rocket science. Give them all Tuesday off or whatever, and let them have their own fake Veterans Day, and you make them work Veterans Day. Like, is it really like so horrible that FFG employees, some of them have to work Veterans Day? Come on.
And besides, Americans don't even know what Veterans Day is about. All right. So, I mean, it's like veterans, but why is it celebrated on that date? But anyway,
Yeah.
so
But it's perfect this year because it's a Friday. It's that weird one where it falls on a Saturday, so it's not the Monday after, it's the Friday before, which is ideal for a large
card game
gaming
tournament.
convention weekend. Yeah, it's perfect. It's the perfect year to do it on the weekend of the 10th.
Well, I do because I we're clearly moving towards the end of our discussion here. I mean, we've been
Yeah,
doing
I'm
this
running out of steam.
for about an hour now. But I do want to say actually one sort of controversial disagreement I have with some people where I agree with our good friend Buzz. I actually don't have a problem with the randomness. Uh,
Oh, the random draw. Yeah, we
yeah, the
haven't
random
really talked
draw.
about that. I don't either, actually.
Because
I don't.
the old system of basically who can be at their computer at 9 a.m. Central Time on a weekday uh, wasn't really the fairest and best way to do it,
No.
right? I mean, random draw maybe isn't either isn't fair either,
Right.
but it's a better and fairer system than what they had last year.
It's when you combine random draw into 2 days that causes all the issues. If it was one big day of Swiss and we were all random drawing for it, then it's understandable. It's like, okay, some will not get in. Regional winners are in automatically. Good for them. Not everyone else will make it, but you're all going to have the same competitive field, right? So, right?
Yeah, and I think also random pairings with a month and a half's notice is
Oh,
also the problem, right?
yeah, it's a problem. It's a huge mistake. I mean, it is. There's no other way to categorize it. It's a mistake, and the tournament's still 2 months out, and Worlds is a big mistake.
Yeah, and it's a huge insult to long-running Thrones players, and it's a really sour note to kick off their new OP for L5R. So
Right.
I think that again, FFG shot themselves in the foot, right? I think they have since I this is my third world season as a serious like player who follows everything very closely, and I think
Yeah.
they handled the rollout for second edition pretty well, like that
Yeah.
5 day goodbye to Thrones kind of thing, goodbye to the old guard, hello to the new guard, sort of 5 day thing was great, but then they botched everything between that and the next worlds,
Yeah.
and now it feels like that they're starting to get the game together in a design level
Yeah.
that it should be. The prizes are better this year, but then they've completely botched the competitive play in North America.
Yeah. There's no word on Worlds prizes either at this point, right? There
Yeah,
was nothing in the announcement. Yeah.
nope.
So we don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't
I
know if
mean,
we're getting the
it's a
big
mess.
deck boxes like this deck to deck box because this is what you got last year, right, Sid? Oh, well, you can't see because it's
Oh,
turned
I
off for you.
was
The
last year the red one. Yeah.
the red one or
Yeah.
it was based on the game you played, right?
Yeah. Thrones
So
was red. Yeah, I have the red
yeah,
one.
is it the bigger one though, right? Not the thin one, right?
Right, the big one. The year before was the small
That
blue
was the one
one.
I have, the small blue one that I had. Everybody got
Right.
the same color, right?
Yes.
And then yeah, and then you got a different color based on the game you did last year.
Right.
With uh, so if you played 2 games, you got 2 boxes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is
And
nice.
we got a T-shirt. Uh, and oh, and we got alt arts to all the games, right?
Yeah, and but you only get a full play set of the game you play.
That's right.
If you make it to the end of the Swiss, you get all of it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, there it is. What I don't know what else there is to say. Chat, have we missed any big issues?
yeah.
We'll give you guys a minute if you want to like pop something into the chat and tell us, wait, you forgot this
Well,
issue.
I will tell the new audience. I'll give you a spoiler. We act. This is just a special mini-sode. It's episode sort of 4.5. This
Yeah.
does not count as your second sons. We have a week from now, next Saturday. We have a very special episode where we'll be joined by a very special guest to talk. We're going to be updating one of our probably most infamous episode from our first season, which was rating metas and saying
Right.
which metas were better and which metas were worse. And so we're going to be checking in on that story next time with a very special guest who I will not spoil, but
Secret guest.
secret guest. But I will give you the topic. We will be going over what metas are best. So Chris and Sid will be talking about how great SoCal has improved. You know,
Always.
always. We can talk about stagnation in the American South and sort of the breakout performance and domestication of the Midwest. There's lots of sort of stories going on,
The
and then of course
Pacific Northwest and
the
their
rise of the
sudden
Pacific North.
rise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of the decline of DC.
Yeah. Ooh, it's
Yeah,
true though, isn't it true?
yeah.
Ooh, ooh.
So many different topics, so much shade, so much shit talking, so much patting each other on the back that will be going on in this episode. And I promise we will not be leaving our friends in Essos in the old world behind. We have
Yep.
plenty of discussion about the European metas as well. So
Yep.
it will be a really great episode. So before Sid and I sort of sign out and leave you all to this week labor, we will cease laboring on what is now Labor Day for me. Uh, does anyone have any questions or final comments in the chat?
Krevik did post. He says regional winners getting a guaranteed spot is great, but this is the first time they even said that right. And now I don't recall during regional season was it advertised that winners would get a guaranteed seat at the World
I
Championships?
don't think so.
I don't think so
But
either. I
but
don't
last year they
remember
got one,
playing
right?
for that.
Last
Did they?
last year they did get one, didn't they?
Not certainly not buys. That hasn't been true
No,
for
no,
a
no.
while. But they got a reserved seat. I'm not
I think they did.
sure.
I think they did.
And Krevik also says they didn't even announce hotel block deals, right? And that is
No.
correct. There's been no announcement about. And has anyone called Radisson yet and made a reservation and mentioned that they are part of an FFG tournament group? Because that's how I did it last year. I saw FFG posted, hey, there's a deal. I
Oh,
called. I said I'm part of the group. Looks like,
Lan says
yeah.
they did apparently.
Oh, they did. It wasn't in the World's announcement. I read it twice, I thought, and I didn't see any mention of it. Maybe it was on a separate or
Maybe it was
earlier announcement.
on a
Maybe.
tweet. Maybe they
Maybe.
tweeted it.
Maybe it was a
Uh,
tweet.
but I mean, why are you calling hotel blocks? You don't even know if you're going yet. Like
No,
that's
no,
the
no.
thing.
This was last year. This is
No, last
last
year.
year. And the year before. Yeah.
So yeah,
So we don't know. We don't know.
we don't
That's
know.
that's where we leave our listeners in a total state of mystery and shock and awe. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
I
No
don't
one
know.
knows. September
I don't
8th,
know either.
we presumably will know more. Like September 8th is going to be a big day, right? Everyone supposedly will be getting emails who's getting in. We'll know who's not preliminarily in. Like that's going to be either a great day for everyone or a really bad day for a lot of people. I guess we'll see.
We don't know.
We don't know.
All right. Well, I think that's a really good way to sign